Hi, my name is Amanda Modern, and I am the owner of Modern Moksha Designs and Publishing. And what I wanted to talk about today is vulnerability. So I had recorded a video a couple days ago and started talking about my brand and what it represents and a little bit about me because I want people to, get an understanding of me and why I found my company, Modern Moksha Designs and Publishing. And one of the things that I found myself doing is, first I did listen to it again and, just wanted to see, did I capture the things that I'd wanted to? Because I don't work with a script. I just really speak from my heart. And I have done some of my YouTube videos where I was reading from a script that I had been writing before using an app called Teleprompter. And it just doesn't feel natural to me. And I noticed that when I listen to talks on YouTube, they're not scripted. They're people being where they are right now. And for example, I'm not ready for contacts, and I keep observing that I can see the reflections in my glasses, and it kind of drives me crazy because then I'm like, then everyone's going to be able to see that. But who cares? It's I'm not ready for contacts just yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. Yet I did have to bring it up, but my point today is talking about vulnerability, and that in vulnerability is where we find our growth. And I was thinking, as I was mentioning, I was thinking about the video before and thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or what if a potential employer, listens to that and they think, oh, da da da. But then I just thought, if someone sees me, and I'm being vulnerable, and it's not comfortable for them, and a job or whatever, it doesn't work out, it's okay, because that just means that wasn't meant to be, or it wasn't the right fit. And one of the things that I found to be actually comforting, and I think this is a result of growth, is when I have had interviews in the past, and I got to the second level, but I didn't get called back. I feel disappointed that it didn't work out. But at the same time, I'm thankful for the opportunity that I did have, because it's another connection I made. And, who knows where that might lead down the road, or maybe they have some posts that, that are interesting to me, and so it's something new that I learned that I didn't know before. And I do strongly believe that the people that I meet, whether online or, in person, although lately for me it's mostly online, that we met for a reason, and that, they're a part of my path, where I'm going. And, sometimes I'm not sure where that is, but, I listen to my instinct, or I listen to my intuition, or the other thing is, like, when I feel something, it's in my stomach, it's my gut feeling about, about things. And I wanted also to talk about this painting that I did. I went to Toronto, and actually it was a result of meeting some friends online through a self-development group. And we met a couple times, but we actually talked on WhatsApp over the phone for 8 months or so. And then I had a weekend invitation, and so I was just like, Toronto to Pittsburgh, it's like 5 hours or something, And I'm never really sure about that, because I actually stopped. So it's like, do you count the stops, or do you count like from point A to point B? But in any case, because I took a chance, and it was kind of funny too, because I was at the border crossing, and the agent was asking me, why was I there to visit? And I said, I met some friends online, and we're meeting in person for the first time. Although it felt, because we had many talks on WhatsApp, where we could see each other with a video. And, I told her, and she just looked at me like I had 8 heads or something. Or maybe she looked at me and was thinking like she couldn't imagine doing the same thing herself, or who knows really what she thought. and it doesn't really matter. I mean, I was just excited to go see my friends, Jean and Colleen, and we had a fantastic weekend. But as I was driving up there, it was a Friday, and I had stopped at some point, well, twice actually, because I wasn't sure that I had wasn't sure I had the documents that I needed for registering there was an app for Canada related to the pandemic, and I hadn't registered. So I was actually stopped for a while downloading this app and doing whatever I was supposed to, and then I noticed I had downloaded something else that I thought was real but really wasn't, and so I had to kind of iron that out. And I feel kind of silly telling this story, but it's a mistake that I made, and it was something that I learned. Anyway, I got that figured out, and then I got through the border crossing, and I have to say it was the fastest border crossing to Canada I had really ever experienced. Due to the pandemic. So there was like a plus, a little silver lining with the pandemic there. And then there was another time where I stopped for gas, and then I decided to eat a little bit. And I kept telling myself, like, I knew I need to get on my way because it's Friday rush hour. And I was driving into Toronto. I wasn't even really sure where my friends lived. I mean, I had the GPS location, but I don't know Toronto like the back of my hand. So anyway, I did, of course, get into the rush hour, and there were some discoveries I had that were kind of fun to share. One of them is that during rush hour, Canadians are really polite. Nobody was like cutting me off, or, if I needed to get into a lane, people let me in, and, it said Pennsylvania license plate. So, this is an American here. And unfortunately, we Americans aren't always known for our best traits sometimes. And so, I only hope that, when we think about other people, I'm American, but, I'm also a human being. And I also realize, some people might say, oh, Americans, they're so loud and brash, and that can be true some of the time. That can be true for a lot of people, not just Americans. That could be, I don't know, Germans, for example. I don't know. I'm just throwing a country name out of my, I'm not really good with remembering the phrases, but you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, back to the point. So I ended up, of course, driving in rush hour, and I was pleasantly pleased that the Canadians were letting me into the lanes, and also a lot of distance between cars, which made me feel safe, because I also was scared, because I was like in the middle of what looked to me to be Toronto downtown with all of these skyscrapers, and it was dark, and it was, there were lights, street lights were on, and actually it was beautiful. It was so beautiful that I captured the picture in my mind, and I just thought, I'm going to paint this, and so anyway, I did finally arrive at my friends, and I was exhausted, and I don't want to say crazy exactly, but feeling a little like, thank God I'm here, sort of crazy, and parked on the street. And it was very easy. I was kind of surprised, for kind of being in a downtown location, just how easy it was, just to find parking and call my friend. And I wasn't even sure which apartment building it was. And not to digress, but I had a similar experience when I was in New Zealand, and I got to the Airbnb, and I couldn't figure out which number was the right building. And I was, of course, standing right in front of it, but I had like my luggage. I had just flown from the United States, and, I'm looking like, where is this? And then, a stranger came up to me, and she, asked, did I need help? And of course I did. And she said, I was like looking for the building. She said, it's right there. And, and that's just, for me, that's the kindness of strangers, and also kindness that we experience when we travel. But getting back to Canada, so I had this wonderful weekend with my friends Jean and Colleen, and we had a lot of laughs. We had a lot of cheese. None of us drinks, so there was no wine. But we did enjoy the cheese, and we did enjoy the ice cream and the cookies, and just being together and talking and listening to music and just relaxing. But when I drove home, of course, it was daytime then, and I made a couple stops along the way. I stopped at Niagara on the Lake and did some painting there and talked to some gallery owners and shopkeepers because I always like to talk to the locals. And I stopped at the Balzac's Coffee because Jean had introduced that to me when we were in Toronto, and I bought a couple. Well, I got something to drink, and then I got the Balzac's decaf chocolate, sultry, whatever coffee, and I still have it. I've been saving it, but anyway, again, I know I digress. I go into stories. I always feel like I have a lot of stories when initially I get in front of the camera and think, "Oh my God, what am I going to talk about?" But the point is Toronto, and the point is also the gifts that we have that we don't expect to get into, or we have obstacles that come upon us, and they end up being they taught us something. And like maybe for me, it was like I didn't have to be so scared of being in a downtown rush hour in another country, which sounds kind of silly to say it because I mean it's not like that different from the United States. It just was a whole lot more people than what I was used to. Yet I drove in San Francisco, not actually downtown, but I've driven where there are like 5-6 lanes of traffic. So it's not a new thing for me. But it's like when you're out of your norm, you just get a little scared because you don't know everything, we don't always know everything, of course, but I think it's just, obstacles give us that chance to see, discover about ourselves that it's okay, it's going to be okay. And there's always some little jewel, some little lesson. Like my jewel was driving in downtown rush hour was okay. And that people are polite drivers and people are going to let me in. And really in other places where I've been, in Philadelphia, believe it or not, people let me in a lot there too. I haven't driven in New York City, so I can't really say about that. I drove in Boston, and actually I thought it was great. As long as I knew where I was going. If I didn't know where I was going, it was maybe less great. I did get once pulled over in a roundabout because I actually just didn't understand the whole process. We don't really have roundabouts in Pittsburgh. But otherwise, it was fine, and I'm sure people were like laughing at me for being pulled over, but because I probably cut them off, but I didn't really mean to. But, there are lessons learned, in every difficulty that we have. And I made some contacts at Niagara on the Lake that day, talking to the shopkeepers and talking to one of the gallery owners who helped me understand, like, when I go to a gallery, what I should do if I'm wanting to exhibit my work somewhere, what is the best way to do it, because it was new for me, and I liked her, and I just felt, she might have some good wisdom to share with me. So anyway, as I mentioned, there were many gems for my trip to Toronto, and one of them was just being that just how beautiful it was when I was driving in downtown Toronto, and I just felt like that little kid in New York City looking up and like just being amazed by all the beauty around me. And this was in downtown traffic, and it was a new experience for me. So I'm already past the time I wanted to be talking. So this is the painting that I did, and it's called Toronto on the 403. And I'll get a little closer just so you can see the detail. So I also, this is oil with cold wax for the medium. And I painted this, I want to say it was in December of 2021. And, you can find my pictures on my website, but that I painted. But also, I guess the point is, that when I look at that painting, it reminds me of that trip. But, at the same time, I hold on to paintings, but then, when I'm ready to let them go, that's usually when I sell them. But, my gem might be somebody else's memory, to what they had. And it doesn't have to be about Toronto. It just could be about another place that holds dear in their heart as well. So thank you for listening. And if there's anything that you want to share or anything that resonated with you, please feel free to share in the comments box. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks.